Yeah. Please, you might want to mute your mic.
I will record that.
Please, let's remember to always mute our mic. Thank you. And let's always remember to mute our mic. All right. So good afternoon, everyone. And you are welcome to today's session. And in today's session, we're going to be talking more about Microsoft Excel. How can we start out with Excel? And what are the things that we can do with, with Excel? All right. Okay. So our topic for today is Excel Essentials, how mastering the basics of spreadsheet, how we can master spreadsheet and how we can make use of Excel to get the job done and also to analyze our data. Okay, so in today's session, so this is just we have a brief agenda. So we'll be doing an introduction to Excel. We'll look at the history of Excel and we'll look at some little functions in Excel. Then we take ourselves to how we can leverage on AI. So I'm sure we all know that right now the buzzword around is AI, AI, and AI. So how can we leverage on AI in Excel to also get our job done? And finally, we have a brief Q&A session. So that's how we are going to be running this session. Okay, so let's quickly delve into the business of the day. But before we delve into the business of the day, so please let's confirm that we have our exercise file opened. Please let's type in the chat if you have the exercise file opened. I'm sure we've all gotten the exercise file, so let's confirm that we have it opened. Just drop in the chat. Thank you, that's interesting. All right. So thank you very much, everybody. Okay, so we'll be jumping into this session. And please, anytime you stop hearing me, kindly quickly call my attention to it. And it's a bit raining from my end here, so and it might affect the internet. Beside that, we are good to go. Okay. So remember today we said we are going to be looking at Excel, and there's one particular say, it's a normal saying from David Brown. And David Brown is the managing partner of David Brown Consulting. So that number, it says what? If it is not in a cell in Excel, then it is not Excel. Again, if it is not in a cell in Excel, then it is not Excel, because generally Excel works with cell. Anything you're going to be doing in Excel has to be put in a cell. So if it is not in a cell in Excel, so it is not Excel. So let's see how we work with Excel and how we can work with the cells that we have in Excel. All right. Once again, my name is Sadiq Yusuf. I'm an associate business analyst and I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer. So I've been doing this for over 3 years now, and I've worked on different analytics solutions that cut across different organization and industry. So I'm here as a student of learning and also to impart the little knowledge that I've also learned from all my bosses at the top. All right, so let's look at let's quickly delve into Excel itself. So what is the history of Excel and how did Excel get to the current level that it is right now? So in 2003, so that was the first version. We have different versions of Excel. We have the 2003, the 2007, 2010, 2013, because what normally happens is every 4 years we have new versions. We have new versions of Excel. So in 2003 was where, and before then we've been having a lot of Excel. We have the 1997 versions and so on, the old versions of Excel. So in 2003 was where the please let's also always remember to mute our mic. Always remember to mute your mic.
Hi, Sadiq. You can go on now. I can't hear you, Sadiq. Can you hear me, Sadiq? Hi, Sadiq. You may want to unmute your mic.
Thank you. So just can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay. All right, so in 2003 was when tables was introduced into Excel. So we can now create a table in Excel. And okay, so can anybody tell us what is the shortcut for creating the table in Excel? Does anybody know the shortcut for creating a table in Excel? Let's put in the chat. Any idea? Thank you very much for that. This is Control C. Yeah, so same thing in that same 2003, that was when the WIMP interface of Excel was introduced. Oh, thank you very much. And the WIMP is an acronym for Windows. That's when we have the window icon. We have the icon that represents different commands that you have in Excel. We have menus, and also we have pointers that shows where you are at every point in Excel. So that is the 2003. So fast forward to the next to 2007, the next version of Excel, and that was when the ribbon interface was introduced. It was introduced in 2007. So who can tell us what ribbon interface is? So let's type in the chat. What does ribbon interface mean? Or what are those things that makes up the ribbon interface? Any idea? Ribbon interface. All right. So when we get to Excel, okay, the tabs, interesting. Abraham said the tabs. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so let's quickly go on. So ribbon interface consists of three things. There are three things that makes up the ribbon interface. Just like you said, yes, exactly. Yeah, the tabs. Tabs is where we have the file tab, the home tab, the insert, and so on. And under each tab, we have another thing that is known as group. I'm going to explain that better when we get to Excel. Groups is the second thing that makes up the ribbon interface. And under it, we have different groups under each of the tabs. And in each group in Excel, we have commands. Commands like copy, paste, bold, they're all commands. So all these three things merged together is what makes up the ribbon interface. So that is what makes up ribbon interface. So we have ribbon interface in 2007. And another fantastic thing that was introduced in 2007 was the number of rows that Excel can actually accommodate. So before, it used to be about around 65,000 rows. Excel can accommodate about 65,000 rows. But in 2007, the row was the number of row the number of row in Excel was actually what extended. So who can tell us what is the how many row can Excel currently take? How many row of data can Excel currently take? How many row can it accommodate? Any idea? How many row of data can Excel currently accommodate? Interesting. Thank you very much. So it says what? It can currently accommodate what? The 1 million. You're not unlimited, actually. It is still limited. And that's one of the limitations of Excel. So it is still limited. So before, Excel can accommodate 65,536 rows. So right now, it has now been, so in 2007 was where it was what? It was now actually increased to 1,485,576 row. And you might even want to look at it in Excel. Let's quickly jump into Excel. Let me quickly show you that in Excel. So in Excel, if you want to know the number of rows and the number of columns that Excel can currently accommodate, just go anywhere in your Excel and do Control arrow down. Control arrow down. It will take you to the last row of Excel, the last row in Excel. And I can see right now that what my last row is 1,485,000. No, sorry, 1,048,576. So that is the number of row that Excel can currently accommodate. Yes, that's the number of rows that Excel can currently accommodate. And the same thing is if you want to know the number of columns to see what is even the end of Excel, the last column in Excel, just do Control and the right arrow key. It will take you to the last column that you have in Excel. And you can see that is what? XFD. All right. So that is all these were introduced in the 2007 version of Excel. And fast forward to 2013. 2013 was where we have new updates in 2013. 2013 version of Excel now has slicers. We can now slice and dice our data using slicers in Excel. Using slicers in Excel, and also we can filter. Yes, like you can filter our data in Excel in 2013. Also, in that same 2013, we have more functions coming into Excel. We have new functions that were introduced into Excel. So, and one of the ways of doing reports, of creating reports in Excel, functions is one of them. We can use different functions in Excel to create reports, and we have a lot of functions that people actually use when you have a data that we can use to quickly summarize your data. And it is in that same 2013 version of Excel that we now have another way of creating reports in Excel was introduced. Another fantastic way of creating reports in Excel was introduced. And that is called what? That is using pivot table in Excel. So before 2013, what we normally use is different functions. You have to combine different functions to quickly create your report. But in 2013, that led to the breakthrough of a new tool in Excel, and that's called pivot table. Until date, we still have pivot table. Easily, instead of you combining functions and so on, easily you can make use of pivot table in Excel to create your report. Hello, please confirm that you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Hold on,
Yes,
please.
All
sir.
right.
I can hear
All
you.
right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. All right. So as I say, so 2013, we now have pivot table. And with pivot table, easily we can create our report. Now, fast forward to 2019. So in 2019 was where we are. That was the first version that was the first online version of Excel. That was when we have the first version of online. So we now have two versions. We have the desktop version that we normally have on our laptop, and we now have what online version. So it was introduced in 2019. And after that, then we now have the Microsoft 365, which is a subscription based, and it is also online. It's been updated monthly. In fact, the recent update that we have in Excel now is what Excel can now we can now run we can now Excel can now work, or Python can work with Excel, or Excel can now work with Python, any of the two. So that is those are the history of Excel, and that's the different versions of Excel. And monthly, these products are being Excel is being updated with new addition, new tool, new functions, and so on like that. But this is only available to the premium users, which are the Microsoft 365 users. So this is all about the history of Excel. All right. Now so after talking about this, then we can now jump into the day business. Let's quickly go and get our hands dirty. So let's go into the exercise file that was sent to us earlier today. And in the exercise file, we have a lot of things that we need to do in Excel. And like I said earlier on, when I was introducing when I was talking about the tabs and the the ribbon interface generally in Excel. So this is what I refer to as tabs: the home tab, the insert, the draw, page layout. They are the different tabs that we have in Excel. And under each tab is where we have, if you look at it critically, we have a vertical lines demarcating each of the vertical lines in each tab, and that is what we call the groups. And in each group we have commands like paste, copy, and the likes. So that is everything together makes up what we call the ribbon interface. Okay, so today let's go to so in this exercise we're going to be covering a lot of things. So let's look at the first exercise that we have there, which is the text function one sheet. Let's go to the sheet. Let's go to the sheet. Now, in Excel, that, like I said earlier on, there are different ways by creating reports in Excel. One of them is we can use functions to create reports in Excel. Who can remind me what other method did I mention during my introduction? What other method did I mention? Let's confirm.
Pivot table.
Thank you very much for that. So pivot table is one of the ways of creating a report in Excel. Now we are going to look at what how we can use Excel function to get some things done. We are going to look at different functions in Excel to how we can use what functions in Excel to get some things done. Now, looking at the table, what we currently have on my screen and from your own screen, which is from the text function sheet. Now, tell me, can somebody just let me narrow down your search? Go on the name column, under the name column. Can you just tell me, look at the data, what exactly do you think
Sorry,
is
sir, we
wrong?
can no longer see your screen.
Oh, you can no longer see my screen.
Yeah,
Oh,
yes, we
apologies.
cannot see the screen
Wow.
again. No.
Yes, we
Okay.
can.
Thank you. So my
For
screen
a
is
while
up
now.
now. Oh, really? All right. So confirm that you can see my screen. Just type in the chat.
Yes.
Yes,
It's
yes,
up
yes.
now.
Please, how did you get the names, the table? Hello?
All right. Thank you. So now, can you just type in the chat? What do you think is wrong with this data that we have on our screen?
Hello,
What
please, I
do
don't
you
know how you
think?
got the data. Sorry, hello?
The data was
Ah,
shared on the
yes. Okay.
WhatsApp group.
Yes, I can't access the
Okay.
data because I don't even know I clicked on it. My own screen has been hanging for a while, so I don't know what is going on.
Okay, Joe, you know what? Just check your WhatsApp. Joseph, you might want to reshare it. Share it just um on the WhatsApp group. All you need to go there and download the data. Download it before you open it on your own screen. Yes.
Yes, I
Okay, I
did
can
that
see people
already.
as okay.
Your voice
Okay,
is
so don't worry.
breaking, sir. We don't get
All
what you
right,
are
no problem.
trying to ask us.
All right. Again, I was saying that looking at the data that you have from your end and on my screen as well, what do you think is wrong with this data? And I can see a lot of people have been dropping their own take on it, saying the casing of the names, the data is not well structured, empty row, the names are not well arranged. You should follow one case sentence. Names so exactly. Some of the names are past, some are exactly. That is one. So looking at the data very well, exactly. So thank you very much, everybody. So we've identified one key challenge. And before you even solve any challenge in Excel, before you solve anything in Excel, there are three things that there's something that you need to know. First thing is one critical step in solving any challenge in Excel is for you to understand what the challenge is. So first of all, we need to even know what exactly is the issue before we can go ahead to solve it. Because if you cannot diagnose the ailment, you will not be able to prescribe an adequate treatment. So in this case, if you look at the data, just like what everybody have said here, so we can see that the names are not properly typed. For example, the first name I have is Adewale Yusuf. I can see Adewale is all in capital letter, while Yusuf in small letter. David Abuyinka. Yes, I can see David. The casing is not just like somebody say, the casing is not where we can, some are in uppercase, lowercase, mixed. That is one. And second, there's another thing wrong with this data. If you look critically, nobody has made mention of it. Let's look, if you look at this data critically,
The spacing is not the spacing between
thank you
the
very
names are
much.
not
So
right.
if you look at the names very well, you will see that what the spacing is just too much, especially if you look at Adewale Yusuf. You see that the spacing between Adewale and Yusuf is more than one. It is even more pronounced when you get to Excel, the first name, which is Excel Anyao. Can I say identify what the challenge is. Then the next thing now is what? How we can proceed to solve this challenge in Excel. Right? So the first thing we have here is the first column is just telling these are the things, these are the questions that we need to answer. We need to eliminate all the unnecessary spaces. Then we need to put the names. The names has to be properly typed. Then we now want to combine them. So, like I said earlier on, one of the ways of solving it, we make use of functions in Excel. And now let's look at what functions can we use in Excel to solve this. Now, left to me, if this was given to me, what I would have done before this class is what? I don't know if that is the case for you as well. What? Okay. Oh, let me even ask from your end. So what I would have done is I'll just come here. Okay, somebody gave me this. Imagine I have about 1,000 names and the names comes like this, and I need to resolve this. Right. So what I would have done is just come here and say, okay, I will solve mine and say, okay, Adewale, and I will type
Sir,
it
your screen is
the
still
way
off.
it's off.
Yes.
Okay, let me stop sharing and
No,
share
maybe
mine
for
again.
Totally.
The
Okay,
no,
filter
No,
is
maybe
not
no,
from
no,
your
showing.
no,
end. I
off.
can
I can
see
see
from
your
Hi,
here.
screen.
Sadiq. It's on. It's
I
okay,
Toby's
can see his
network.
screen. Your screen is on.
all
I can
right,
see your
all right.
screen.
Thank you. Okay, all right. Thank you very much for the feedback. So possibly you might want to check your internet. Exactly. Now, okay. So before this class, what I personally would have done, I told you very and I'm not so good with Excel. I don't know Excel. So what I would have done is what I would just type Adewale, then type Yusuf, type all of them one after, go to David Abu, go there, David Abu Yinka. The next name I will type it, the next until I get to the end of the name. But then, can somebody just tell me how long, if I have about 500 names, how long do you think this will take me? It will take me. How long do
Two
you think
weeks.
this will take me? 2 weeks. Interesting, because I will have somebody said days. Yep. So if you look at this, it will take me a lot of time. And again, this is not actually the only thing I am doing. I have to do. I still have some core responsibilities that I need to take. So combining with this is going to take a lot of time. And at the end of the day, you find out that what I'm spending a lot of times doing what could have actually be done in less than what? In less than a minute or even in seconds. So so to get this now that we've already understand. So what is actually expected of us in this particular column is what? To eliminate unnecessary, because we've identified two challenges, too many spaces, and also the names are not properly typed. So we want to solve this challenge one after the other. So in order to solve this challenge, we are going to be making use of some functions in Excel to solve this challenge. But I'm not going to spoon feed you. Rather, what I'm going to do is to teach you, I'll show you how you can get to know how you can solve this in Excel. Because in Excel, we have quite a lot of functions in Excel. And one thing that is very, very difficult to do is to memorize all the functions that we have in Excel. So if you find yourself in a situation whereby you have something like this and you need to solve it, or you have any other challenge as well, but then the challenge is you do not know the right function that you can use to solve this challenge, all you need to do is you go to the formula tab, remember our tab, the file, home, insert, draw, and so on like that. So we go to formula, and under my formula tab I have a lot of commands there, right? But the first command is what I am going to use. Again, you go to formula tab. Remember why we are doing this is because we do not know what function is going to help me to solve this challenge of removing spaces, eliminating unnecessary spaces from the names. So I will go to the formula tab, right? And under the formula tab, the first command, which is at the extreme left of my screen, which is insert function. It is called insert function. Insert function. I'll click on it. Now, from the insert function, now I will have a dialog box will come up for me. And in the dialog box, I have something that is very amazing. It says what? Search. There's a box there, and above the box, I have something like that says search for a function. And inside the box says type a brief description of what you want to do. Then you click on go. So it simply means I have something to do in Excel, but I do not know the right function to use. All you need to do is go to the formula tab and click on insert function. Then inside this box, I'm going to delete everything I have inside this box. Then it says type a brief description of what you want to do. What do I want to do? I want to what? I would like to remove spaces from this particular space. So what function will help me solve this? So all I need to do is what? I want to remove. You don't need to type too many. This just give the keyword. What do I want? I want to remove spaces from my text. Or I can even finish it, but I don't want to finish it. I can decide to finish or just say what I want to do is remove spaces. Then the next thing to do is what? All you need to just click on go. The moment you click on go, what insert function will do for you is it will help you to search for any function that can do what you have specified in this box. So when I click on go, it suggested what trim for me. But in some cases, it might even suggest more than one function for me. So, but then the fact that it suggests a function doesn't mean that that is the right function that will solve the challenge at hand currently. but you also need to read what does that function does. What does it do? So for trim function now, for me to know what it does, I go to the bottom of this. I can see trim. And what does it do? It removes all spaces. It removes all spaces from a text string except for single spaces between words. Fantastic. Trim remove spaces. What trim does is if you have two words, it already understand that in between two words there should be a single space, right? So it's what is not telling you that what it will look for between two spaces, look for any extra spaces that you have. If you have 3, 4, 5 spaces, just like we have in the first and the in the names. So it helps you to, if it is 5, it will remove 4 out of the 5 spaces and leave 1. That's what it means. So now I've gotten the function that will solve this. So let me now go ahead and use the function to solve this. Then I'll come to where I need to get this done. Then do what? For every function in Excel, it always starts with an equal sign. Every function that you want to use in Excel starts with an equal sign. So I'm going to say inside that cell, remember, we say what? If it is not in a cell in Excel, it is not what? It is not Excel, right? So inside this cell, then I'm going to do equal sign and call on the right function that will do it for me. And that function is called what? The trim function. In fact, the moment you start typing, Excel has an intelligence that suggests once you type, I type T, the Excel intelligence will supply, gave me all function that has T in them. And I go ahead to do R, then it narrows it down again. That has T and R. Then you can see I have transpose, trend, trim, and so on like that. So I can either complete the function, complete typing trim, or since I can easily see trim here, can double click on trim. I'm going to double click on trim. And another thing is when you have the function, right? Even once you get to the function, I'm on trim now. In front of that function, you also see the brief description of that function, what it does. It removes all spaces and the like. So I'm going to double click on this, or I can tab on it since it is currently this thing is currently on it. Tab on it, then it opens a bracket for me. It opens a bracket for me, and for every function you have in Excel, for every function to successfully run or to successfully be executed, it requires arguments. It requires some argument. And what does argument mean? Argument simply means the input that is required for that particular function to work effectively. Now for trim now, so if you look at under my screen, I can say that trim has a single argument. So it depends on the kind of function you're using. You might have one argument, two, and more than two. So depending but for trim function simply means just what? A single argument. And that argument is what has been typed in the chat right now. It is what we have under my screen, and it's called what? Text. Trim is asking me, what text do you want to trim? In other words, what text do you want to remove spaces from? So all I need to do is to supply the text. What is the text? And that is the name. I'll click on just the first name. I'll click on the first name. That is the text. Look into this name and give me what? And remove any extra spaces that you have there. Then once I've supplied the text, the next thing to do is what? To always close my bracket. Is to close my bracket. Now I need to close the bracket. Always remember to close, and you can see the moment before I close my bracket, you can see a trim is still opening there. You see there, right? But the moment I close my bracket, then it disappears. It simply means what? I am done with this function. Finally, the next thing to do is to hit on enter. To hit enter. Now, if you look at the name now, the Adeluwale Yusuf, you can see that the name, the spaces has now reduced compared to what we have initially. That's really, really, really reduced. So we now have a single space. But then, are we now saying that this I'm going to replicate? What if I want to do for the second name? Am I still going to do equals to trim and do it for that one again? So what if I'm doing that? So there's definitely no difference between the manual method that we started with, which is typing out the name and using this. But then instead of you doing that, you can actually, all you need to do is just write the function just once. And what? You can replicate it for all the remaining cells that you have in the particular column. Now, all I need to replicate this, all I need to do is what? Click into the cell and come to the bottom right of that particular cell. I'll take my cursor to the bottom right of the particular cell. Currently, if you can see my cursor in Excel, you can see it. But the moment I take my cursor and it get to the bottom right, then it will change. It will change from my big plus sign to a black plus sign to the bottom. So all I need to do once it has changed, that is telling that we are already at the bottom of that particular cell. And the next thing to do is just double click it twice. Double click 1, 2, very fast. 1, 2. Then it is going to replicate it for all the remaining names. And let's see, you can see Excel. Wow, Excel as we for this particular one. You look at all the spaces that we have here before, but now look at the name. So we have succeeded in using the what? The trim function to what? To remove all the extra spaces, all the unwanted spaces that we have in the cell. Right? Now, that is one. But then remember, when we started this, we actually identified two challenges, which is what? The spacing and the names is not properly typed, right? So the second one is what? We want the name to be properly edited. That's it. So here we have only was standardized name. And there are different ways by which you can actually rewrite the name. It's either you decide, depending on your own opinion, you can decide that I want this in capital letter, or you want it in small letter, which is either the upper case or the lower case, or you want it as the sentence case, which is the first letter to be capitalized and why the remaining one will be in small letter. For the first name, then the second name to the last name to the first letter is going to be capitalized, which is Y, and the last name is going to be what? It is going to be in small letter. So to do this, we have different functions that we can use to solve it depending on what you want to do. So let's suggest. So in what format do you want this to be? Do you want to be in capital letter all through, which is uppercase, small letter all through, and likes? Let me know. Let me know. Interesting. Okay.
Capital all through.
The proper. Yeah, so we have a lot of options. Don't worry. So people are saying what? Proper case. Yeah, somebody is saying capital all through. So depending on what you want to do, anyone. So to do that, you can also what? Follow through. You can also follow through the method I gave us earlier. We just assume that we don't know the function. You go to the formula tab and you go to insert function and say what I want to change it to uppercase. I want to change it to uppercase for capital letter, right? Just hit on go. Then you can see that what we have proper and upper. So remember I told you earlier on, again, what I did was what? I went to the formula tab and I click on insert function. Then inside the type a brief description, I want to change this to what? To change text to, let me even write this, to upper case. Yes, then click on go. Right? It didn't give me that. So I'm going to what? Remember, change it on and say upper case. What is it? So something comes up for me, right? Right. So we have proper and upper. So what does proper? We have two functions. So we are lost. Which one should we use between the two functions? We have the proper. What does it do? Proper convert a text into proper case. What does proper case mean? The first letter in each word to be to upper case and all other letters to lower case. So which means what you want that you use proper function if you want it to be in that case. That is, the first letter is going to be capitalized, while other ones is going to be in small letter. Then we have upper function. So what does upper function says? It says what? It converts the text in all to upper case. Exactly. So if you want it to be in capital letter, so basically we have three functions that we can use to do this. Either you use the upper function. Let me put it here for us. The upper function, if you want to change to capital letter. The small letter, who can tell us what function, if upper we change to the capital letter, what function do you think will help us change to the small letter? Thank you very much. The
Lower.
lower
Lower.
function.
Lowercase.
Thank you.
Lowercase.
Lower, and we have also
Lowercase.
identified that what the for it exactly. Thank you for that. Now, proper case, we have us change it to what? So first we capitalize the first letter. So let's quickly do this. So let's use as per the majority carry the vote. I can see a lot of people are saying they want proper. So let's use the proper function, but all of them do the same thing. I'm going to say equals to then proper. As you're typing, Excel will suggest for you proper. So click on your proper, it will open a bracket for you. And your proper functions too needs an argument. And what is that argument? It needs a text. So what text is it? I'm going to use this particular one where we have removed space, because if I use the first one, it simply means what? The spacing issue has not been solved there. So we see that be having spacing issue. So that's I'm using this. I say what? Okay, the name that I've removed spaces from, change it to proper case. Then I'm going to close the bracket. Then you hit on enter like I did earlier. Now we can see that what Adelwale Yusuf has been typed in the proper way, which is A is capitalized, the Dewale is in small letter, Y is capitalized, and the Yusuf is in lowercase. So to replicate this for all the remaining cells, all you need to do again is, remember that particular cell that you just finished working on, go to the bottom right of that cell, take your cursor to the bottom right, and your cursor will change from the normal thing that you're seeing here to something black. Once it changes to that black, just what? Double click 1, 2. Then it's going to replicate it for all all other cells. And if I scroll downward now, then I can see that what? The names has been properly typed. Now we have solved this challenge, right? So remember, we might not even have the luxury of doing this one after the other. First of all, remove the space and what change it. What if we want to do everything just at once and we're done with it? So we can combine these functions together. In some cases, you might use one function to solve a particular problem. While in some cases, you might have to combine multiple functions to solve the problem, because it has multi-level of problems in it. So to solve this now, I want to do this thing once and for all. And to do this once and for all, I'm going to combine the first function that I used in removing spaces, which is what? Trim, and the function I used to what? In putting it in the right center in the proper case, which is the proper function. So to do that, I'm going to come to the next column that says combine the two functions. Don't worry. The recording of this. Oh, thank you very much, Abdurrahman. Somebody is faster. So I'm going to say equals to what? The first function we use, which is the trim. The trim function will help us to what? Remove space, right? Also, after before trimming it, I also want to what? I also want to put it in the right sentence, right? So I'm going to use the proper, in the right case, I'm going to use the proper function to do that. Now I need an argument, which is the text. Which text? So I've come to this when I will now come to the first name, the initial name that we have. Click on it. Click on it. Then you close your bracket. I've closed my bracket once, but because we use two different functions in solving this, so I'm going to close my bracket twice. The first bracket we close is for the proper function, while the second one is for the trim function. Then I'm going to hit on enter. I will hit on enter, right? Then I can what? Double click. Then it's going to do it for me once and for all. Then this has been solved at once. In less than 30 seconds, we get this done. But then again, so the company name, it says what if you look at the company names too, we want to change the company name to uppercase, that we want it to be in capital letter or true. We can remind us what function did we say we are supposed to convert to capital letter? What function did we say we are supposed to convert to capital letter? Thank you, the upper function. So we're just going to say equals to upper. Then where's the company? Here is the company. Then you close the bracket and you hit on enter. So then you replicate this for all the remaining columns, all the remaining cells. And if you scroll down, you can now see that what the companies are now in upper. But then let me now shock you. Do you know that what we have been doing so far is just like we driving a manual car? It's like we driving a manual car. Now, fine, this actually solves the challenge at hand, but we can be more what productive with this. Instead of doing all this, we can actually do this in just a jiffy. Now, let me take us to what that can be done by leveraging on Excel itself. Now, let me show you I can do this in less than 2 seconds. In less than 2 seconds, I'll get this done. Now, let me remove everything I've done so far, delete it, and I say what? Instead of me saying remove the spaces properly, all I want is this name is not properly typed. I'm going back to the initial method I said I will use. Right? So I'll go back and I say, okay, the Adewale Yusuf, this is how I want it to be. The first letter should be capitalized, right? Adewale. Okay. Adewale. You can see I typed it the way I want it. Then I want just a single space. Then Yusuf is Yusuf. Yusuf. Then enter. The next thing is what all I will just do is what? Tell Excel that Excel, please get this done for me. And in no time, Excel will get it done for me. You can see that I have the full name. All I did was what? Talk to Excel to what? To get it done. The same thing if I want just the first name. I want Adewale, right? Extract the first name for me. Enter. Then I'll just say what? Excel, please get this done for me. You can see we have just the first name of all the names that we have there. The same thing if you want the last name, just do it, type the last name, Yusuf. Then please Excel, get this done for me. Then Excel will actually what? Get this done. Now the question is, how was I able to contact Excel to what? To do this for me? Exactly. I can see how was I able to contact Excel to get this done for me. So to do this, actually, yes. So I actually leverage on AI function that we have in Excel. Remember, I told us that we're going to look at the different AI that we have in Excel. The AI that we have in Excel. So all I did was what? To use the AI that we have in Excel. And what is that AI called? The AI that we have in Excel to get this done is known as flash fill. It is known as flash fill. Flash fill. Now, how do you even get to flash fill? Where is flash fill? In Excel, for you to see flash fill, flash fill can be found under the data tab in Excel. Under your data tab in Excel. Okay. Um, okay, so for the proper arrangement, right? Let me quickly take this before I go to the flash fill. I'll just equals to what I did was equals to trim. I use the trim. Then the second function we used was the proper function. I did equals to trim and equals to proper. Then what text? What text do I want to use? Would I want to work on? I'm working on this name, the names. Then I'm going to close this bracket twice. Then enter. That. So I did trim and proper. Don't worry when you are watching the recording. So this will solve it. Now, instead of using all this long method, I can actually leverage on Excel, the AI that we have in Excel. Yep. Okay, so that's where we are going to. So I leverage on flash fill, and I say flash fill can be found under the data tab in Excel. So everybody, let's go to the data tab that we have in Excel. On my data, I have home, insert, draw, page layout, formulas, and data. Now, don't worry, I'm going to simplify how you're going to use flash fill to get this done. Now, data. Under my data tab, there is a group that is called what? The data tools. The data tools group. And in this group is where we have what? We have flash fill. You see an icon. You will see an icon that has what? That has like a lightning on it. So that is what we call flash fill. And the shortcut to flash fill is Control E. So all I did was Let me delete everything again and said, okay, what I want to do is Adewale Yusuf. I want it to be properly typed. Instead of wasting time, we just say type it. What you need to do is what type it the way you want it to be. So I want it to be as capital letter A and every other one is small letter. This is Adewale, then single space, then Yusuf is YUSUF. That is the name. Then I'm going to click on, after typing the name the way I want it to be, even if you want it to be capital letter, type it in capital letter. Just give it an example because Flash Fill works with your example. Give me that example. I've given my example, then I will hit on enter. It will take me to the next set. All I need to do now is what? Call on Flash Fill to get it done, to get every other thing done for me. And the shortcut is Control E. Once you do Control E, it is going to what? Replicate for all other names for you. All the remaining names. So now I have what? The names properly without using any function. That's the power of AI. Again, what if I want just the first name? All you need to do is what? Type just the first, what you actually want. That first name that you want is Adewale. That's what I want. In fact, I think I should just do capital letter. Adewale. Right? This is what I want. Then enter. Then I'm going to do Control E. You can see it has given me all the names, but then the challenge is that what? The challenge is it is not giving me everything in capital letter. So this simply, remember I told you that what? Flash Fill only works with your example. It simply means what? The first example, it does not understand. So all I don't need to start all over again. The second name, which is David, I need to put it in capital letter. Before you even finish writing that in capital letter, it would have what? File when it would have understand it. So let me do the David. That's David. By the time you hit on enter, then you can see that what now Flash will already understand what I am trying to do. Then it has now replicated for all the remaining name. All the remaining names. Same thing for every other thing you want to do. You want to do the capital, the first name, the last name, and anything. So you can easily make use of Flash Fill to get that done. So let's move on to, because of our time, let's move on to the next sheet, which is extract full name. Okay, yes. We have something here that's even telling us what, how can you, so we have a name, the full name here. Now from the full name that we have here, we just want to extract first name separately and last name separately, which was just what we just did earlier on. How do you do that? Just type what? Are they the way you want it to be? Ewale, enter. Then you call on your Flash Fill, which is what? Control E. Then it brings out all the first name for you. You have the first name. So you do the same thing for the last name. But we can use, you do the same thing for the last name too. Type the last name, then it brings it out for you. Right? But then we can, so when we, let's move on to the next sheet. So that is not, what we have done so far is not the only way you can what? Extract, you can make use of Flash Fill to extract anything you want to extract. In the third one, the next one, which is the sheet that says extract from email. In this sheet, we have just email all through. We have adewale.yusuf@stillupslimited.com. The first name that we can see all the email address. But then what we want here is that what? From here, how can we extract just the name alone? We want to, from this email now, I want to extract just Adewale Yusuf. I want to extract David Abu. I want to extract Olalekan Ajani. I want to extract, and so on like that. You can still leverage on the AI that we have in Excel, which is the Flash Fill. All I need to do is what? Give it your example. And my example is what? Adewale space Yusuf. Then you hit on enter. Then you call on your Flash, which is Control E. In no time, it has helped me to what? To extract all the, in no time, it has helped me to extract all the names. You can see from the email address that we have there. So that's another way of using it. Same thing, if you go to the next sheet, on the next sheet, you can see what? Leverage on your AI, which is the upper. We can leverage on the Flash Fill as well to bring this out in capital letter, just like what we have done earlier on. Adewale in capital letter. Just type out Adewale in capital letter. And you hit on enter. That means you want all the names to be in capital letter, and you call on your flash fill. Then it gets it done. The shortcut of our flash fill is what? Control E. Control E. Then okay, now another way of doing it is, what if the names are separated? How can I combine these names together? The names are separated. We can also what? Use flash. Normally in Excel, you want to combine things together, we use a function which is concatenate, right? But you can still use what? Your AI to combine these names together. These names are initially we extracted it from email. We have the names together, they are written together. We separated them. We have extracted it from email, but now the names are separated. How can we combine it? We want the first name and the last name in the same cell in Excel. So normally we use the concatenate, but instead of doing that, in no time, in less than 2 seconds, you can easily get this done. Just type the way you want it to be. Adewale, that's what I want. Space. Then I want Yusuf, Yusuf. Then you call on your flash fill, which is Control E. Control E will help you to what? Get it done. Now we can see that we've combined the two names without even using any function in Excel. Without using any function in Excel, we have combined the names. Then on this as well, what if you want the names to be for academic use? And we know in academic, what your surname comes first, then followed by your name. But here now we're having first name and last name. So how can we what? How can you change this? How can you change this? Right? For the first name to come first, the last surname to come first, and your first name come later. Same thing, just tell Flashfield what you would like to do. And what is that thing that I would like to do? I want the last name, which is Yusuf, to come first. So I'm going to type Yusuf first. In fact, you can even say, okay, Yusuf, then you can put comma to separate it. I want to put comma, right? Space, then the first name, which is now Adewale, right? All you need to do here too is what? Hit on enter. Once you hit on enter, this is so you have given Excel the what? Your example, the way you want it to be. The next thing is what? Call on the flash field, which is Control E to get it done. Then easily now I can see that what? The names has been swapped. We now have the surname, or which is the last name first, then comma, and we have what? The first name later. So there are different use cases of with different scenarios whereby you can make use of flash fill. In fact, let's look at one more scenario. One more scenario. One more before we move on to something else. Is if you on the next sheet, which we have what? The join variable. We can still use flash fill to join a lot of things. In fact, we can use it to create a dynamic content. For example, we have a table on this sheet now. We have a table that shows first name, the last name, the code, the staff code of this person, the department that this person is, and the gross salary of this person. Now we can make use of what we have in this column to create a dynamic content, something that shows like okay, I want to say okay, Adewale Yusuf with the staff code this C on 001, and in the in L and D department earns this amount. So imagine you want to do this for all the names that we have here. You have to use a lot of concatenate, concat, or use the ampersand function to just join everything. And before you know, you get lost in between. So instead of me doing that, I can leverage on the AI that I have in Excel. How can I do that? Remember what I keep saying is what? Just supply your own example. So my example is I want Adewale, right? Which is coming from the first column, Adewale Yusuf with the what is the staff code? T-001, right? Then in the what? The department L and D. L and D department. Then I want to say what this person earns. As I'm creating a dynamic content, earns what this amount 2,410,197. In fact, I can start to put 0.00. I can start not to put it, but let me put the 00. Then so I earn so Adewale Yusuf with the staff code T001 in the L&D department earns this amount. Should it be let me do monthly. So this is what I want. Full stop, then enter. Now I've created what I want from that particular one. So I can now leverage on the AI that I have in Excel. So I want to do the same thing for all the names that we have there. So instead of me typing in one after the other, I'll just leverage on Flash and do what? Control E. And before you know, you get it done and you can see that what you have a dynamic content. It doesn't repeat Adewale for, but the next person I understand that what that is David Abu. Now we have David Abu with the staff code CO22 and this department is sales department. Is in sales. The next person is what? Olalekan Ajani. You can see it's showing that Excel. So we can leverage on the AI that we have in Excel to do a lot. And in fact, this saves me a lot of time. It is, imagine the number of time it's there, where how long it will take me to put this together. But with just AI, it can easily what? Get it done. There's another thing is there's one word that normally goes around and say AI has come to put people out of job. That is a fallacy. AI has not come to what to put anybody out of job. In fact, this particular one that we are using, it has been in Excel since 2013. This is the 10th year. It has been in Excel for the past 10 years. But the only thing that will send us out of job, that will make us jobless, are those who knows how to use AI, not AI itself, because we still need people to want to use the AI. So it is only those that knows how to use AI. Then these are now the people that will replace us. People that fail to what? Anybody that fails to improve or fails to move with the tide, then they will be replaced. So this is how we can leverage on the AI that we have in Excel. And what is that AI? The flash feed to do a lot, to separate, to join, to extract, and to what to create a dynamic content. Now, then let's move on to, so this is what all about text, and go on, so on, right? But let's now move on to what we now have another sheet there, which is the basic reporting sheet. On the basic reporting sheet, we have a table as well. We want to quickly do a mini report. And I'm very sure for most of us now different what job role, or okay, these are core members. These are the things that you are going to be facing when you also start working. You don't even need to be an analyst. Whether you are an HR, you are in sales, you are in marketing, you will always have a cause to use one of these things. How can you be more productive with all these things? What we are teaching here. Right now, we have a table right now. And the table, we have the names of and the company that they work for, and we can see their salary. But then if you scroll down a bit, we have some questions that needs to be answered here. What are those questions? The first question is saying what? Let me zoom in so that you can see my question. The first question says, what is the total salary of all staff? Remember, we have a column for salary here, right? Now we want to know what is the total salary of all these staffs. The second thing is what is the average salary of all the staff, the highest salary, the lowest salary, and also how many staffs do we have. So let's quickly do this in less than 4 minutes. Now to do this, to get the total salary of staffs that we have, so it simply means what? We need to add all these numbers together. We need to add all the numbers together, right? So to add the numbers together, remember, we need a function. We don't want to add them one after the other because that will take time. So you can see make use of what the method we use earlier on. That is, go to the formula tab, go to the start function. But I'm very sure we all know. So tell us, okay, don't let me assume. So can you put in the chat what function do you think we can use to add all numbers together in Excel? What is that function? Thank you very much, everybody. Yes, we can use the sum function to get this done. So I'm going to come here where I need the answer to be. What is total salary? So I need what? Equal sign. That's the first thing. Equal sum, like you have rightly suggested. We call on the sum function. And if you look at it very well, my sum function needs numbers, right? So all I need, all the numbers. So number 1, 2, 3. How many numbers do you want to add? So all you need to do, the argument is supply all the numbers, then it's going to execute it for you, right? So to do that, so I've got down the sum function, then I need to go back to the number itself. So go to the beginning. I can go to the beginning. Now we need to highlight all these numbers. Now, how many of us are like me that if you want to highlight, all you do is what? You drag to highlight. I'm very sure some of us are like me. You drag to highlight. But now it is fine to drag, but then it is a sin. It's a sin to drag. Imagine you have about 1,000 rows. Are you going to drag from the beginning to the drag till you get to the bottom? No, that will take a lot of time. Instead of doing that, just click on the first number. Click on the first number. Since we want to highlight everything we have in that column, just do Control, Shift, arrow down. Control, Shift, arrow down. So this will help you to highlight all the cells in that column, everything from beginning to the end. Then you can see some from D7 to D26. They can close, even if it is 1,000 rows, it will highlight everything at once. Close the bracket, then you hit on enter. Then it gives you the total salary of all the staff. Total salary. Now we can see that. Then the next question: what is the average salary of all staff? And one good thing about Excel is that once you understand English, everything will be very easy for you. Here, what we need to do normally in mathematics to get the average salary, you need to add all the numbers together and divide it by what? The number of people that we have, right? But instead of doing this, we have a function in Excel that can help us get this done. And that function is called the what? The average function. We're looking for average. So it's called the average function. It is called average function. So I'll go to my average and call on the average. Now, average also needs number, right? So I need to come here. Imagine now, right now, I'm even at the bottom. So imagine I have 1,000 rows. Will I also scroll up before I get to the top? No. I can also start from the bottom here and use my shortcut. Remember, when we want to highlight everything downward, we use Control Shift arrow down, right? But now that you want to highlight it upward, just what all you need to do is what? Change the direction of your arrow. Now you do Control Shift arrow up. You can see it highlights it up to the heading for me, but I do not want that heading. So to make it come down a step, I will just hold my Shift key. This just only Shift, not Control Shift this time around. Shift, then down arrow. It will take it a step downward. It was like this before. I want to take a step downward. Shift, then down arrow key. Now, if I come back here now, I need to what? Close the bracket. Close the bracket and enter. Now I have the average salary of all the staffs. Of all the staffs, we have the average salary. Then the next thing is we want to know what is the highest salary that we are paying. So, like I said earlier on, this is English. It is English, right? So we want to know the highest. So to get the highest, the function that we use is what? Is maximum. Thank you. I can see people have already suggested it's maximum. So we have it's called max. It is abbreviated as max. Max functions in Excel. Okay. When I click on it, it's also need what? Number. So just like what I did earlier on, I'll start from the bottom instead of going up. Start from the bottom, then Control Shift arrow up. Again, this will also pick the heading, right? Which I don't want. So I will use my Shift arrow down to come down a step. Then that's done. I can hit on enter directly from here. Then it gives me the maximum salary that we are paying. The maximum salary. And so since we know that max we do the highest salary, look at what function we do the lowest salary. The opposite of maximum. Thank you very much, which is the minimum. So we use main. That's the function. The main function, okay, needs numbers too. Let's go from the bottom now. Control Shift arrow up to go up. Remember? Then I need to come down a bit. Then enter. It gives me the what? The lowest salary. Now, the last question here is to calculate the total number of staff. How many staff do we have? So we thank you very much, Abdurrahman. Equals to what? We use the count function, right? Thank you. We use the count function to count the number of staff. So staff, I need to count my staff. Again, so I'm starting from the first person. Adewale Yusuf as the first person. Click on it, then you do what? Control Shift arrow down, right? Then you hit on enter. Now you can see there's a challenge for me here. It is giving me 0. Why is it giving me 0? Is it because I use the name and so on? So what happened is when you use equals to count function only work with a cell that contains number. You can see it counts the number of cells in a range that contains number. So it gives me 0 because the name column does not contain number. It gives me what? It's counted it, but none of them contains. That's why it's returning what? 0 for me. But if I want to, I can decide to do it. Okay, let me now use it for the salary column. The salary, count all the salary now. Right? Then you do enter. Let's see what it will give us. We now have 20, which is 20 people that we have there, right? We have 20. But then what if we do not have any column that that has what? A number. So we can use the count A function. Count A will help us to count any cell that contains either number or that serial number is it either contains the number or it contains text. So long the cell is not empty, count A, we do it, and the A there stand for all. It means count all. So now let me go and count the names now. Okay, I've highlighted the whole name there, enter. Then we have what? Let's see. It gives me 20 because I use count A and I use it for the name column. So this is how the count A works. Now, because of time, we have actually spent far ahead of our time. We are going to be having assignments for this session. For this session, we have assignment. But before, let me show you the assignment and possibly do just one for you. We have the same data again in the next sheet, which is class work assignment. And the first question that we have here is, what is the total salary of staffs working in Lagos? The total salary of staffs working in Lagos. Now, we need to add all the salary, right? But then there's a condition there. It is only for people who are in Lagos alone. It's only for people who are in Lagos alone. So we know that we need to add, right? So that is a sum function. But the condition there, we need what? A conditional statement. And what is that conditional statement? It is the if function, is the conditional statement. So we are going to use sum and if. So we use sum if. We have sum if, we have the count if, the average if, the max if, the mean if, and so on. So all of them are conditional. The first one we did, there was no condition. Now we need to what? Do a conditional. Add only the salary that belongs that for staffs who are in Lagos, right? So to do that, let me quickly, I will only do this for you then. The remaining one use as an assignment. So I'll use equals to sum. Because when I say type sum, we have sum and sum if and sum ifs. So let me use sum if. So by the way, sum if and sum ifs are the same thing. The only difference there is s, right? So sum if is for singular when you have just a single condition, and sum ifs is when you have more than one condition, right? Now we are using sum if. Now sum if has 3 arguments. The first argument is range. Range means what range, you have range, criteria, and sum range. Range means what column contains the condition that you are specifying. The condition here is Lagos, right? The staff must be from Lagos. So what is that column that contains Lagos? So the column is company, right? Then the second one is criteria. What is criteria? Criteria is now in that particular column, what exactly is the condition you are looking for? That's the criteria. Then sum range means what? Which field do you want? Which column do you want to add? So my sum range now is the column that contains the condition, which is the Lagos is our condition here. What is that column? The column is my company. Let me go. So company, this is it. This is where we have it. So I'm going to highlight everything. The whole column is what you highlight. Is what you highlight, right? That is the range. Then, comma. The second one is the criteria. Now, from this column now, what exactly are you looking for? What is your condition? So my condition here is Lagos. So I'll come here again and do click on Lagos. Just look for anywhere you have Lagos. So this is Lagos. Lagos is the condition, right? Then you put a comma to it, right? Then the last argument is sum range. What column do you want to add based on the condition that you specified? So I would like to add the salary. So go to salary, then you do again, Control Shift arrow up. Remember to use Shift arrow down so that it doesn't cover the what the headings, right? Then you can now do what? This is the range, right? That's the sum range. What I need to do now is close the bracket and hit on enter. Now it gives me what? The total salary of staffs who are coming from Lagos alone. Who are coming from Lagos alone. So this is how you solve this. The next one is what is the average salary of staffs in Oyo State, the highest salary paid in Edo, and so on like that. So you can always leverage on this to what to solve the remaining 4 questions. So because of time, I'm going to be stopping here and to take 1 or 2 questions before we wrap up for the day. And be rest assured that you're going to get the recording of this session. Then you can always what follow through everything you have missed in this session from here. All right. So